You don't understand. It's after us. It's big. It's got huge teeth, a big beak, bulgy eyes, feathers, fur everywhere.
Yeah, and pigs can fly.
No, bears can fly. Bad guys beware. Here comes Banjo Kazooie, where you're both bird and bear with amazing powers. There's never been anything like this head-banging, sky-flying, rock-hopping, egg-shooting, tag-teaming duo. Banjo Kazooie, only for Nintendo.
Hey, what's up guys, how's it going? So, Banjo-Kazooie. Now, of course, as we all know, this is a N64 classic. If you have or going to get a N64, you gotta get this in your collection. Now, I'll be honest, for me, this game has a little bit of a learning curve. I will say for the most part that this game isn't as smooth as Super Mario 64. But in my opinion, this is what makes the game great. Now, hey, like I said, last time I went into this game blind, I didn't grow up with it back in the day. But that doesn't change the fact that the game has its quirks, I guess. Anyway, I'd say for the most part that this game has a basic story. Of course, you know, Tooty gets kidnapped by Gruntilda and you have to save her throughout 10 worlds. And obviously this game is a bit of a collectathon. Now, how can I not compare this game to Super Mario 64? These two games are very similar, you could say. In Super Mario 64, you gotta save Peach, and Banjo-Kazooie, you gotta save Tooty. Instead of collecting stars, you're collecting puzzle pieces. Instead of collecting coins, you're collecting song notes. You get the point. Now, apparently, back in the day, people called this a Super Mario 64 ripoff. I disagree with that. Yes, the game has its quirks and similarities, but I wouldn't call it a ripoff of Super Mario 64. If anything, this game has a lot more to offer than Super Mario 64. I mean, you could talk to NPCs, but all you had in Super Mario 64 was toads. I'd say for the most part that Banjo-Kazooie's levels are a bit more in-depth than Super Mario 64's. I mean, take a look at Bob-omb Battlefield and Mumbo's Mountain. Obviously, Mumbo's Mountain has a bit more involved, has completely different areas, while Bob-omb Battlefield seems a bit more simpler, I guess. But then again, we have to take a look at the hardware as well. Super Mario 64 released in 1996, so this is in the very beginning of the N64's hardware, so it didn't really push the N64 hardware-wise compared to Banjo-Kazooie. And one other thing that I like about Banjo-Kazooie is the, I guess, two-player dynamic, even though it's not really two players, but obviously playing as two different animals, I guess, but Banjo has its ups and downs, and Kazooie has its ups and downs. Obviously, with just Banjo, you could just roll, punch, jump. But with Kazooie, you could like shoot out eggs, you could fly a little bit, you could walk up steep hills. Obviously, both characters have their ups and downs. But I want to bring back the story for just a moment. Now, one thing that I definitely like about this game is when you quit the game or turn it off, you obviously see the cutscene where, you know, Gruntilda wins. Now, I actually like this a lot because when you quit the game and you come back to it, you obviously know what you're fighting for. Unlike Super Mario 64, where you just go through level and you kind of forget what you're doing this for. And obviously, you get the 3 Bowser boss fights to kind of remind you of that, but for the most part, you kind of forget that Peach even exists besides that one cutscene. But enough of comparing it to Super Mario 64. One thing that I would like to talk about is the controls. The controls can be kind of confusing. At least for me. Of course, you go through the tutorial and this and that, but I honestly forget some of the things I can do. Like, in Mumbo's Mountain, you have to defeat that gorilla. I kind of forgot how to shoot eggs and whatnot. I had to, like, relearn the controls. And that's something that I have to do a lot in this game. But hey, maybe that's because, you know, again, didn't grow up with the game. I'm still somewhat, you know, getting used to it. And especially with the enemies, I died a lot throughout this game. And of course, I mean, it's the N64, so I can't really complain too much, but the camera controls are kind of, it's not the best. But I still say for the most part that overall, if you haven't played this game, I definitely give it a shot. You don't even have to play it on the original N64, you can play it on 360, Xbox One, there's tons of ways to play this game now. But if you want to get the legit experience, play it on the real hardware, even though it has its quirks. And plus, again, you can play it on Rare Replay, Switch, Wii U. This game is on absolutely everything now. If you haven't played it, go try it out. And hey, if you want to, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, no rush, and tell me down below, what do you think of Banjo-Kazooie? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me down in the comments, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Come in the name of peace.